Hello and welcome to Sports Vibe TV. Down at the Sports Vibe HQ today we have Alastair Campbell. Alastair, firstly, you've written a new book that's just come out. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's about?
The clues in the title, winners and how they succeed. And I guess in a nutshell, I've looked at winners in sport, business and politics and tried to draw lessons that not just other people in sport, business and politics can apply, that all of us can apply. And I've really enjoyed it. I've been incredibly lucky, the people who agreed to talk to me. So, you know, if you look at the cover, people like Anna Wintour in fashion, Jose Mourinho, Dave Brailsford, Ferguson, Floyd Mayweather. I was really chuffed to get Floyd Mayweather, particularly as he's now going to finally fight Pacquiao. Haile Gebrselassie, Gary Kasparov. Does chess count as a sport for you guys? He was pretty amazing and incredibly clever. Clive Woodward, Dave Brailsford. And I also have looked at a lot at Australian sport because I really like Aussie rules and I love rugby league in Australia. And I've done a whole chapter about Australian winners. I think they've got a real kind of winning mindset. And I suppose there's, you know, one of the messages I've got for politics and business is don't just see sport as entertainment, which it is, but actually there's so much that you can learn from looking at the best of the best. And I've concluded in a way that, you know, politics I think has a lot to learn from business and business has a lot to learn from sport, and they can all learn from each other. So I've really enjoyed it.
And where did you first get the idea for the book from?
I probably first had the idea for writing the book because I'm obsessed with winning. I'm obsessed with winning in politics, I'm obsessed with winning in sport. In my research I read a lot of sort of, you know, psychological books and what have you, and I discovered this phrase I'd never heard before, where it talked about how some people are maladaptively competitive. I am definitely maladaptively competitive. I mean, I can't stand losing anything. And I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think in politics it's really important. I think fear of defeat is a really big driver. What was interesting about the sports people in this book, only one person that I interviewed said that he never thought about losing, and that's Mayweather, who's never lost. Everybody else, to greater or lesser degrees, actually talked about fear of defeat being the biggest driver. Dave Brailsford, Wenger, Clive Woodward, Billy Bean, Ben Ainsley. A lot of these real hyperachievers, it's all about, I just can't lose, I just can't stand losing, I mustn't lose. And there's one of my favourite quotes in the whole book is Wazam Akram, the Pakistani fast bowler. He said, there's a real difference between wanting to win and will to win. Everybody wants to win. Will to win is whether you're prepared to do the things needed to do to give yourself a chance of winning. And I think that's a brilliant insight. And when something like that says it, it's obvious. But sometimes the most obvious things, people don't live them. And I look at politics now and I see lots of people who want to win, but are you going to do what you need to do to win? So I think if there's one lesson, there's two, I can't really say there's one lesson because they're all different, they're different people. Hard work, it's just like incredibly important. I mean, these guys, they all work really hard. Resilience is incredibly important. Even something like Mayweather. I mean, okay, he's the richest athlete in the world history now. He's going to fight, when he fights Pacquiao, it's going to be the richest single individual event of sporting history. 250 million quid for a boxing match that might be over in 2 minutes. Probably won't be. But they still want to do it again and again and again and again. You look at something like Tiger Woods hitting 82 recently. I can only begin to imagine what he's going through with that because that's just not what he does. So there's something about the winning mindset that I'm interested in, that I think I do have when it comes to campaigns. And I think that one of the guys that worked with me on the book, a researcher that did a lot of the research for me in Australia, and he actually gave me an interesting insight. He says, it's all very well looking at these hyperachievers, but when you talk about you've got to set your objective and then get your strategy and only then do the tactics, how does an ordinary person relate to that? And I said, well, look, let's say you want to lose weight. What's your objective? You want to lose weight. Right, what's your strategy? Your strategy then is diet and exercise. What's your tactics? I'll stick a picture of myself on the fridge. I'll stick a picture of a really fat person on the fridge. I'll record everything that I eat. I'll record the calories. I'll get a nutritionist maybe. Then if you take it up a level to the kind of professional sports level, then you're just doing an exaggerated version of the same thing. So I think these things, even though you and I are never going to play football like Diego Maradona, but it was Diego Maradona who turned me on to the importance of visualization. I've written a chapter about visualization. How can you apply that in your ordinary life? How can you apply that in a campaign? How you can apply that if you're a football manager? How can you apply that? I used it when I was really under the cosh and giving evidence to inquiries about Iraq. Visualise. What's the worst thing that can happen? Think about that. How would you deal with that if it happened? It might not happen, but if it does, you've thought about it. Then something kicks in.
Now, you mentioned Floyd Mayweather a few times already. Obviously, he's undefeated. You've spoken to him recently. Do you believe he will beat Pacquiao?
What was fascinating about Floyd Mayweather, uniquely, he said, I never ever think about losing. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I suspect it is. Now, partly that's arrogance, and people don't like the arrogance when it's throwing money about and having a wall covered in Rolex watches that you say you can't be bothered to wear, and he's got this garage full of every luxury car that you can think of, all white. He's just bought his 14-year-old daughter a Rolls Royce. I mean, it's kind of obscene on one level. But his objective was always to be the richest athlete in the world. Tick. And it was always to go through his career undefeated. Now, people say that's why he's avoided Pacquiao up to now. But he's going to fight him. I think he probably will win. I don't know enough about boxing, but my son, who does know a lot about boxing, he says he will win.
Well, I'd probably have to agree with your son personally on that one.